The handcuffs bit into my wrists like cold teeth. The kind that don't let go easy. Not in a city like Atlanta where the air hangs heavy with unspoken rules. "He's trying to break into my car," the woman shrieked again, her voice slicing through the humid night like a switchblade, pointing at me as if I were the devil himself manifested in ripped jeans and a faded Falcons hoodie. I hadn't touched her damn Prius. Hell, I was just cutting through the parking lot of the corner bodega, phone in hand, texting Archer about our date, when her headlights pinned me like a suspect in a lineup. "You got the wrong guy, lady," I spat, my heart slamming against my ribs as the two cops, one burly with a mustache that screamed Nam flashbacks, the other a rookie with eyes darting like he knew this was bullshit, yanked me against the chain-link fence. The rain started then, fat drops splattering the asphalt, turning the world into a blurry accusation. Sirens wailed in the distance, but it was her words that echoed loudest. "He's one of those thugs. Do something." That's when my phone buzzed in my pocket. Ignored, because how do you text "help" when your arms are twisted behind you? The older cop muttered something about resisting, his grip tightening, and I tasted blood from where I'd bitten my tongue to keep from screaming. Archer. God, if he knew. If he saw this, it would break him, or worse, make him pull away like everyone else when the world's ugliness splashed on me. But then, tires screeched like a banshee's cry, cutting through the downpour. A black Escalade. Mom's ride. The one with the tinted windows that screamed, "Don't fuck with me," barreled into the lot, hydroplaning to a stop inches from the woman's bumper. The door flew open, and there she was. Senator Elena Hayes, my mother, heels clicking like gunfire on the wet pavement, her silk blouse already darkening with rain. "What in God's name is going on here?" Her voice wasn't a shout. It was thunder wrapped in velvet, the kind that made senators backpedal and presidents sweat. The woman's face drained of color faster than milk spilling on linoleum. She stammered, I thought he was stealing." But Mom was already there, flashing her credentials like a holy relic, her arms slipping around my shoulders as the cops fumbled with the keys. "Release my son. Now." The rain poured harder, washing away the lies, but not the sting. The raw, electric burn of being seen as a threat in your own damn city. I slumped into the passenger seat of Mom's Escalade, the leather creaking under me like it was judging my soaked clothes. The cops had uncuffed me with apologies that tasted like ash. "Misunderstanding, sir." And the woman? She stood there, drenched and dumbstruck, mumbling about optics, as Mom's aides snapped photos for the inevitable op-ed. But as we peeled out, leaving the flashing lights in the rearview, the adrenaline crash hit me like a freight train. My hands shook, not from cold, but from the what-ifs. What if they hadn't listened to her? What if Archer had shown up instead of her? Mom glanced over, her manicured fingers tight on the wheel. "Lucas, talk to me. You okay?" I nodded, staring out at the blurred streaks of headlights on I-85. "Yeah, just tired of this shit. Tired of the invisible line that said, 'Black boy, keep your head down.' Even when you're the son of Georgia's rising star, the woman who'd clawed her way from public housing to the Capitol with speeches that could melt steel. But power didn't shield you from Karens with 911 on speed dial. It just made the fallout louder. By the time we hit our driveway in Buckhead, gated, pristine, the kind of place where neighbors wave from their Teslas, my phone was exploding. Texts from friends. Saw the news alert. You good? A viral clip already circulating on Twitter, courtesy of some passerby with a smartphone. And then Archer. WTF, Lucas? I'm coming over. Now, I almost told him not to. Almost said, "Stay away. This is my mess, not yours." But I didn't, because Archer Whitlock wasn't the type to run from fire. He was the idiot who'd dive in headfirst, white boy savior complex and all. We'd met 6 months back at a rally, him, the idealistic reporter from the AJC, scribbling notes on police reform while I held a sign for Mom's campaign. One shared glance across the crowd, his blue eyes locking on mine like we'd been waiting lifetimes. And that was it. Sparks in a powder keg. The door to my room was barely shut when he burst in, still in his button-down from the newsroom, hair tousled like he'd run every red light. "Lucas!" He crossed the space in 2 strides, pulling me into a hug that smelled like coffee and rain in him, his arms wrapped around me, solid, unyielding, and for a second, I let myself break, just a little, burying my face in his shoulder. I'm fine, I lied, pulling back to meet his gaze. Those eyes, stormy gray like Atlanta thunderclouds, searched mine. Really? Bullshit. He cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks, gentle as if I were glass. That woman, she profiled you, called the cops on nothing. It's everywhere. Your mom's statement just dropped. This is why we fight. I laughed, bitter. Yeah, fodder for her next bill. But me? Just another stat. I sank onto the bed, the mattress dipping under us as he sat beside me. Archer's hand found mine, lacing fingers like it was the most natural thing. Even though in Georgia in 2025, two guys like us, black and white, out and proud, still turned heads. Or worse, he squeezed. You're not a stat. You're Lucas Hayes, artist, activist, the guy who makes me believe in second chances. His voice dropped, that soft drawl creeping in, the one that said Southern boy, through and through, raised in the same suburbs that birthed that woman's fear. And I'm not letting this slide. I'll write the piece. Expose her, the system, all of it. I searched his face, the faint scar above his eyebrow from a childhood by crash he'd romanticized into a hero's tale. Archer, with his easy charm and bleeding heart editorials, saw the world as a story to fix. Me? I saw the cracks too deep to plaster over. You sure you want to poke that hornet's nest? Your family's not exactly allies. His jaw tightened just a flicker. The Whitlocks, old money, cotton field roots scrubbed clean for Atlanta's tech boom. His dad, a judge who'd once dismissed a brutality case with a wink. His mom, the garden club queen who didn't see color. Archer had come out at 18, disowned for a weekend before clawing back with sheer will. But blood's thicker than ink. I'll handle it, he said, leaning in. Our lips met, soft at first, then urgent, like we could kiss away the night's poison. His hands in my hair, mine on his waist, pulling him closer. It wasn't fire. It was shelter, the kind that made the world fade to whispers. We broke apart, foreheads touching. Promise me you'll be careful, I murmured. Always. But even then, in the dim glow of my bedside lamp, I saw the shadow in his eyes, the one that whispered lies. The next morning dawned sticky and unforgiving, sunlight slicing through the blinds like accusations. Mom was already in the kitchen, CNN droning on the marble island as she scrolled her tablet. Damage control always. Lucas, honey, breakfast? She slid a plate of eggs my way, her smile practiced, the senator's mask slipping just enough to show the mom underneath. I poked at the food. Not hungry. My phone buzzed again. Archer with a link to his draft. Read this. Tell me it's fire. I clicked, and there it was, raw, righteous prose painting me as the everyman victim, her as the face of unchecked privilege. Quotes from activists, stats on racial profiling, a call to action that could light up the feeds. He's one of those thugs. Her words weaponized, but woven in, subtle as a heartbeat. Our story, anonymized. In the arms of a lover who sees beyond the skin. My chest tightened. He was risking everything, his job, his family, for us. For me. I texted back. It's perfect. Love you. His reply, ditto. Dinner tonight? Your spot or mine? Ours. The little loft in Midtown we'd claimed as neutral ground, away from prying eyes. I typed mine before I could overthink it. The day blurred. Classes at SAD. Sketching urban decay in charcoal, my hands still smelling of rain. Then a shift at the coffee shop, where customers whispered and tipped extra, like pity was currency. By evening, the story had blown up. Protests brewing downtown, Mom's office fielding calls from the NAACP. And Archer? He was the spark. I beat him to the loft, lighting candles that flickered like hesitant confessions. The place was ours in stolen moments. His books stacked on my drafting table, my sketches taped above his bed. I poured wine, cheap red from the corner store, when the door clicked open. He looked wrecked, tie loose, eyes bright with that post-deadline high. It's live, blowing up. He pulled me close, kissing me like victory. They can't ignore this anymore. We ate takeout on the floor, pad thai tangled on chopsticks, talking dreams. Him, investigative pod on inequality. Me, Gallery show of portraits. Faces like mine staring back the world. Laughter came easy, his foot hooking mine under the coffee table. But then his phone lit up, Dad. He silenced it, but the mood shifted, air thickening. He saw the piece. I waited, heart thudding. And Archer set his glass down, too deliberate. Wants to talk. Says it's embarrassing the family. A pause. Heavy. I told him to fuck off. Pride swelled, mixed with dread. Archer. I'm done hiding. He stood, pacing, the rug muffling his steps. This us, it's real. After tonight, after what they did to you. I can't pretend anymore. I rose, wrapping arms around him from behind. His back tensed, then melted. Then don't. We turned, faces inches apart, and the kiss deepened, slow, searching, tongues tracing promises. Clothes shed in whispers, skin on skin in the candlelight. Not frenzy, but reverence. His fingers mapping my ribs like braille, my lips on his collarbone, tasting salt and resolve. We moved to the bed, bodies aligning in that perfect, unspoken rhythm. Love as defiance, as home. After, tangled in sheets, his head on my chest, he murmured, "Marry me, someday." I froze, joy and terror colliding. Archer. Not now. Just promise you'll think. His voice small, vulnerable, the boy beneath the firebrand. I promise. But as sleep claimed him, my mind raced. Someday meant facing the Whitlocks, the senators, the streets. And in Atlanta, some days could turn to ashes overnight. Weeks bled into a fragile normalcy. The incident fading from headlines but etching deeper into my bones. Archer's piece won awards. Some podcaster called it the gut punch of the year. And suddenly, he was the golden boy. Invitations pouring in from NPR to the Times. Me? I was the muse, unnamed but ever present. My sketches turning darker. Shadowed figures in cuffs, eyes like mine reflecting back the bars. Mom noticed, of course. Over Sunday brunch in her sunroom. Avocado toast and mimosas she pretended weren't spiked. She fixed me with that gaze. The one that dissected bills and broken hearts alike. You're glowing, Lucas. Is it the boy? I nearly choked on my orange juice. Mom! Elena Hayes didn't raise a fool. She leaned in, earrings catching the light like tiny spotlights. Archer Whitlock. Good stock, complicated family. But he looks at you like you're the son. Just be careful. Power plays dirty. Her words lingered as I drove to meet him at Piedmont Park. The leaves turning gold under a crisp fall sky. Atlanta's green lung, where joggers blurred past dog walkers, and we could hold hands without too many stares. He was there by the lake, sketching in a notebook, him, the writer, borrowing my vice. Look, he said, holding it up. A caricature of us, stick figures with hearts for heads, defying gravity. I laughed, real and rare. Artist now? Watch out, Whitlock. Only copying the best. He tugged me down beside him, our shoulders brushing. Picnics became ritual. Cheese from that French place, stories swapped like currency. His childhood summers at the lake house, hiding crushes on the stable boy. Mine. Mom's campaigns, me as prop in pressed khakis, dreaming of canvases over podiums. But cracks spiderwebbed. His calls grew shorter, excuses piling, late edit, source meeting. I catch him staring at his phone, thumb hovering over Dad. One night, post-gallery critique, prof raving about my raw emotion. I texted, "Miss you. Loft? Can't. Family dinner. Rain check. Family." The word soured like milk. I paced the loft, wine glass in hand, until the door buzzed. Not him, Jamal, my roommate from freshman year, all dreads and dimples, crashing with takeout. Heard the vibe. Talk. We sprawled on the couch, spring rolls steaming. Jamal out since high school, no drama, just love. White boys, man. They dive deep. But when the tide turns. He trailed off, eyes soft. You deserve steady, Lou. It's steady. Defensive, too quick. He's fighting for this, for us. Jamal nodded, but doubt hung. Later, alone, I scrolled Archer's feed. A photo from the dinner, him at a mahogany table, smiling with his parents. Caption, home truths. The comments, proud of you, son. From Judge Whitlock. My stomach twisted. Had he outed us? Or worse, downplayed? The next day, he showed up at the coffee shop, mid-rush, eyes shadowed. Sorry about last night. Dad cornered me, wants me to tone it down on the race stuff. Said it's hurting his re-election. I frothed lattes on autopilot, heart sinking. And you? Fought back. Told him about us. He leaned over the counter, voice low. He didn't freak. Progress. I forced a smile, handing him his black drip. Huge. But inside, alarms blared. Whitlocks didn't bend. They broke what didn't fit. That weekend, we escaped to the coast, Tybee Island, Mom's old haunt. Rented a cottage on the dunes. Waves crashing like applause. Days blurred. Sand between toes. His laughter chasing gulls. Nights wrapped in each other. Whispers of forever. Imagine this, he said one dawn. Us on the porch, coffee steaming. You painting, me writing. Kids someday, adopted, wild ones. My throat tightened. Yeah. But as the sun rose, painting him gold, I saw the fracture. His phone? Silent, but for one text he deleted too fast. We need to talk. Back in Atlanta, the bomb dropped. Mom's aide called. Leak in the hill. Your boyfriend's sourcing for a hit piece. On Elena. I laughed. Disbelieving. Impossible. But the draft landed in my inbox. Anonymous, but his style. Venomous. Questioning Mom's performative activism. Citing insider on the incident. The senator's son. Pawn or prop. Betrayal hit like a gut punch. I confronted him at his apartment. Door slamming behind me. What the fuck, Archer? He looked up from his desk, pale. Lucas, it's not. The draft. Your words. I flung my phone at him, the screen glowing accusation. Calling her a fraud? Me a prop. It's research, he stammered, standing. Sources say she's using the story for votes. Sources? You're dead. Rage boiled, hot and blinding. You promised. Us against them. He reached for me, desperate. I love you. This proves it, exposing the hypocrisy, for us. I shoved him back, chest heaving. No. You chose them. Tears burned. Unshed. Get out of my life. The door clicked shut behind me, the sound final as a gavel. The city turned hostile overnight. Streets I'd walked forever, now minefields of memory. Every corner bodega evoked that night. The rain, the cuffs, now layered with Archer's ghost. His hand in mine at the counter, his laugh echoing off brick. I ghosted him, deleted threads. But love's a stubborn stain. Mom's campaign ramped up, her face on billboards. Justice for all. I played the dutiful son. Photo ops, stump speeches, but inside, hollow. Sketches piled up. Fractured portraits, his eyes in every shadow. Jamal dragged me to bars. Get under someone. But touches felt like echoes, wrong. Then, the piece published, not his byline, but whispers pinned it. Mom's polls dipped, aides scrambling. Who leaked? She demanded in our war room, maps and memos strewn like battlefield debris. I knew, but admitting it, shattered glass. Archer tried reaching me. Flowers at the loft, notes slipped under doors. Please, let me explain. I burned them, ashes bitter as regret. 2 weeks in, rock bottom. A protest downtown. Me on the front lines for a brutality case. Sign hoisted high. Tear gas canisters popped, crowd surging. And in the chaos, I saw him. Archer, camera in hand, not as foe but witness. Our eyes met across the smoke, his face crumpling. I turned away, but he pushed through, grabbing my arm. Lucas, stop. Cops kettled us. Batons swinging. And we were herded together, backs to a wall slick with sweat. Traitor. I hissed, but his grip held. Not. It was twisted, my editor, Dad's influence. I pulled it before print. Fought them. His voice broke, gas stinging our eyes. I chose you. Always. A canister rolled near, hissing. He yanked me down, shielding me, body over mine as acrid fog bloomed. I'm sorry, he choked. For doubting. For everything. Sirens wailed. Medics swarmed. But in that haze, truth cut clear. Betrayal's scar, but love's deeper. Prove it. I whispered, coughing. He nodded. Fierce. Every day. Released hours later. Charges dropped. Mom's pull. I let him drive me home. Silence thick, but his hand on the gearshift brushed mine. Tentative. At the loft, words tumbled. His confession. Pressured by family, tempted by ambition, but pulling back at the last. Leaking the truth to a rival outlet that buried the hit. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, perched on the kitchen stool, him pacing. Fear. Of losing you. He stopped, eyes pleading. You're my north, Lucas. Without you, adrift. I stood, closing the gap. Then don't drift. Our embrace was fierce, apologies in every press. Lips tentative, then sure, bodies remembering. Not passion's blaze, but healing's glow. Slow dances in the kitchen, his head on my shoulder to Coltrane on vinyl. But trust? A fragile rebuild. Dates resumed, cautious, coffee in hidden cafes. He quit the AJC, freelancing for indies that bit back. Introduced me to his folks, not as Showdown but Olive Branch. Judge Whitlock's handshake was stiff, but his eyes softened at my sketches. Talent, he grunted. Progress inch by inch. Winter crept in, holidays looming. Mom hosted turkey and toasts, Archer at my side. She pulled him aside post-dinner. Hurt him, I'll bury you in committee. He grinned, pale. Noted senator. Laughter rippled, but under the tree, his gift waited. A ring, simple silver, engraved someday. No pressure, he said, slipping it on. Just promise. Tears pricked. Yes, yet shadows lingered. A call from his sister. Dad's sick. Come home. For him. Archer's face fell. I have to. Go, I said, kissing his knuckles. We'll manage. But distance bred doubt. Texts grew sparse, his voice tinny over lines. Family stuff, he'd say. Then, a package. My sketchbook, returned. Inside, a note. Found this in my bag. Miss you. Pages rifled, wait. One missing. The portrait of us by the lake. Heart iced. Christmas in Georgia's a fever dream. Magnolias wrapped in lights. Air thick with pine and pretense. Archer went north to the family estate in Virginia, chasing ghosts. I stayed, painting in the loft, Mom's quiet worry a constant hum. Call if you need me, she said, hugging tight before her flight to D.C. Solitude suited the ache. Canvases bloomed dark. Blues of absence, reds of rage unresolved. Jamal crashed often, blasting trap remixes, forcing bad movies. He's coming back, Lou. White boys brood. But they boomerang. Maybe. But when New Year's Eve hit, fireworks popping over the skyline, parties pulsing. I drank alone, ring heavy on my finger. Midnight text, thinking of you. New York resolutions. Us first. Love, relief flooded, but suspicion nipped heels. Why the sketch? Why the silence? He returned January 2nd, hollow-eyed, suitcase scarred. Dad's cancer stage 3. Chemo starts next week. We curled on the couch, his head in my lap, my fingers in his hair. He asked about you, said, you're good for me. I swallowed shock. Him. A nod. Seeing me happy. Changed him. A little. Stories spilled. Bedside confessions. Judge Whitlock admitting biases. The system he'd propped. Your mom's bill, he'll back it. Miracle, fragile. We rebuilt. Therapy sessions, joint. His for family wounds, mine for profiling scars. Dates evolved. Volunteering at the center, teaching kids to draw their truths. His words in my ear. You're my anchor. Spring thawed us. Proposal proper. Rooftop at the Fox. After a show. Rent. Ironic echo. On one knee. City glittering below. Lucas Hayes. Be my forever? Yes. Breathless. Cheers from strangers. But ours the loudest. Engagement buzzed. Mom toasting at dinner. To allies. Whitlock sent wine, a truce. But summer stormed in thunderous. Archer's pod launched. Shadows of Justice, episodes dissecting cases like mine. Guests. Activists. Survivors. Episode 5. The incident, my voice masked, but raw. It exploded streams, shares. Then backlash, trolls doxing, threats. One night, post-recording, we walked home, his arm around me. Proud? He asked. Always. But shadows moved, footsteps echoing.
Avon schreeds het curb, mesks flashing.
Faggots. Bottles flew. Glass shattering, pain blooming on my temple. Archer shoved me down, taking the brunt. Brick to ribs, boot to gut. Sirens, hospital. Him bruised, me stitched. Mom arrived furious, calling in feds. Hate crime, she declared. He woke groggy, squeezing my hand. Worth it. Every scar. But fear rooted. Who'd sent them? His pod's heat. Investigation dragged. Clues pointed. Disgruntled ex-cop. Tied to his dad's old cases. Archer's eyes darkened. My fault, stirring it. No. I held him. Ours. Healing intertwined. Physical therapy laughs. Late-night talks. Sex returned. Gentle, reaffirming. His lips on my bandages, my hands tracing his fades. Love as medicine. Fall brought wedding plans. Small, loft-vowed. Oaks for witnesses. Invites sent. Mom beaming, Whitlock's tentative yes. Then the call, Dad's chemo failing. Archer flew out, stayed weeks. Texts holding on. For you. I waited, painting our vows in oils. But a letter arrived, his handwriting. Found this draft. Burn if you must. But no, I never betrayed. It was them, always. Enclosed. The missing sketch, creased but whole. Portrait of us. Lake-kissed. Tears fell. Trust, reclaimed. October air crisped. Leaves carpeting Grant Park like confetti for the damned. Wedding day dawned golden. Mom in pearls, fussing my boutonniere. Jamal is best man. Quipping don't trip, groom. Archer waited at the altar. Under a willow arch, suit tailored sharp, eyes soft as dawn. Vows exchanged, simple. In shadows and light, I choose you. Rings slid on, mine beside the promise band. Kiss sealed it, cheers erupting. But ours lingered, world fading. Reception hummed. Barbecue ribs, blues band, toasts laced with hope. Mom pulled us aside. Proud. Both of you. Whitlock's attended. Judge frail, leaning on his wife, but clapping loudest. Family, he rasped to Archer. Progress. Honeymoon. Cabin in the Smokies, no signals, just us. Hikes hand in hand. Stars blanketing nights. This, he said, fire crackling, is the story I chased. Back home, life wove. My gallery opening, portraits of resilience, his face among them. Pod hit millions, but threats ebbed. Justice served. Attackers jailed. Mom's bill passed. Hayes Act profiling reforms. She credited us in speech. Love's the real revolution. Years folded. Adopted twins, wild with crayons. His book, bestseller. Me, tenured prof, teaching truth through art. But humanism's quiet. Scars fade, not vanish. Anniversary 5th by the lake, Tybee echo we renewed. Still yes, he asked. Always. Embrace waves applauding. In Atlanta's heart, where hooks snag and release, we endured. Not flawless, but fierce. Love, the ultimate defiance.